must remember to film. I don't mean this sort of film. So what I'm doing, I've got some of this it's like carrier paper that you use to when you create vinyl stickers. So all I'm doing is adding a layer on the inside and the outside of the windscreen, just to stop it splintering and leaving bits of glass everywhere, obviously wearing gloves. What I also did earlier was taking these two screws out here, and it looks like this entire A-pillar cover is held in with clips. I've already ordered the bonnet, the windscreen, this top cover here, these two side covers. I asked about the headlights because these are, all of the clips are broken. Smart want over $1.5 grand each, no chance. So originally I thought about trying to fix all of the brackets and stuff like that, but me being clever, I asked the main guy at my local dealer, because a lot of the more expensive cars, they actually do headlight tab repair kits. So if they do snap off, I think what you'd have to do is just grind them back, glue these new tabs in, and they've got like brackets and that sort of stuff in. Just so happens they do them for the entire thing, which is handy because this has only got one bracket out of about 8, and I can assure you replacing that unit is going to cost about $1 grand, I reckon, just full of LEDs and stuff like that. So currently I'm just waiting on parts. The windscreen was 555 quid. I did contact Auto Glass and asked them to call me to give me a quote, and they never bothered, so fuck them. So the only thing I'm stuck on at the moment, I can get these out, that was okay, that came off. He's trying to work out how that comes off. That's plastic, and I can't tell. I hope it's not glued down, so I have to destroy it to get it out, but I'm not quite sure whether it's glued in or bolted on. So what I thought I'd do, I would buy a replacement, and then the new one on the back of it should be quite clear. If there's no fixings going through bodywork, then obviously it's either glued on or taped down or something. But hopefully it's just a case of pull the headliner out. Well, actually no, I don't want to pull the headliner out. Remove the sunshade things, and hopefully there'll be some fixings or something, but I really don't know at the moment. I'm getting the windscreen out, shouldn't be too bad. What I plan to do is sticking the shit. Stuck nicely on the inside, it's just a bit too dirty on the outside. Yeah, I plan to just break it and then cut it with a saw of some sort. Hopefully this stuff will stop it from turning into fine powder and getting over everything, because the interior is perfect at the moment, at least until I break it. Right. You need to. So I'm a bit worried about the funny saw things that they use, the wire saws. I've tried those before. Always damage something. That it always manages to take paint off, but I've seen people use the oscillating saws, and they've created a new like spatula type thing without teeth on it, and what you have to do is just reach up underneath there and it seems to work fine. So I'm tempted to try that, but to do that ideally I need to cut out the cleared part of the windscreen and leave as much of this black part in as possible, because that's where the glue sits. It's just trying to work out the best way of doing it without making a horrendous mess and putting a lot of glass dust in there and getting silicosis. Ignore what's happened here. Now, there were attempts made, there were failures. There's now lots of tiny bits of glass everywhere, so that's quite nice. Getting the windscreen out one of these, absolute fucking nightmare. Obviously glued in. The issue being that the glue line runs along here and the windscreen comes down like an extra 1.5 inches there. So it's actually quite hard to get up underneath there. These side pillars are fine, you can get in there, that's easy enough. Now this top cap, guy at Smart in Lakeside, Alan, has been very, very helpful. He sent me the parts diagram for this part and it's held in with clips. I'm thinking, brilliant. It can't be that hard, can it? Just unclip it, because the windscreen runs behind it. So you've got to take that off to get the windscreen out. But as I'm sure you can notice, it's still on the car. And that's because they decided not only should they clip it in, they're also going to glue it in as well. Brilliant. I was hoping that the replacement one was going to turn up. I turned it over, probably seen clips and thought, oh, good, clipped, and back to square one. So I was thinking, well, it's not a major issue. I can destroy this, take it off, fit a new one. New one possibly might turn up in May. Being early February, not ideal. So what I actually did, I got, which are now missing, here they are. I did try using a metal shears. That is what has caused this issue right here. It wasn't going too bad. I was removing enough. I did have to cut the bottom of the windscreen off to be able to get up underneath for the bonding agent to release that. But it was making so much mess, and I was just, it was like a porcupine, just covered in little bits. So what I did eventually was moved over, got one of these oscillate multi-tool things with like a stabby scrapery thing. Yeah, that's not serrated, but it's fairly sharp. It's made by Silverline. Quality gear. So I'm going to have to, I did start with this standard scraper, which is really designed for going in that way. So I was just doing a lot of stabs. When you try to go sideways, it was overheating and then melting everything. That's no good. Now the issue is the clips, they're like push clips, sort of more central and run all the way across. And then on the outside of that, they've got the bonding agent. Now I've tried lifting this up. Obviously the screen's broken, but the more you lift it up, the more it gets broken. And the bonding agent, you can't get it in from that side because you damage the roof. And you can't get it from that side because you have to go cut through the clips. So I think my idea will be, I'll use that to try and cut the bonding off from underneath. And then I've got windscreen removal wire and handles where you put it in and you're supposed to cut through it. And what I'll do, I'll try and put it around the top and then pull it down from this way to try and cut from the top part of it. Now if that doesn't work, I'll have to just destroy that panel and put a bit of tape over the holes or something until I can get it sorted. But all the plastic parts for this car have actually been very, very cheap, like surprisingly cheap. You would think that, being a brand new car, it's not going to be particularly cheap, but A-pillar covers, they're about 100 quid. Yeah, fair enough, that's fairly expensive for a bit of plastic. The broken headlights, they are 1,500 quid a go. I'm not replacing those, but they do the repair clips, like brackets that screw on. They were dirt cheap. They were like less than 20 quid for so you actually repair this central part here, and that one, that side, I think altogether the clips cost about 45 quid. It's a no-brainer. Now literally what you have to do is cut the old clip off. The new one sort of slides in place and they give you little self-tapping screws, maybe a bit of glue on the back, screw it in, lovely. So I'm going to have to get this bumper off at some point to take this off to glue it, because it's a little bit exploded underneath there. This one's all right. Not much I can do on the inside of that, so that's actually split, but I'm not going to try too hard. I'll at some point in the future, when more of these start getting written off, I'll keep an eye out for one of those. I'm not spending 1,500 quid for a new one, so hopefully they'll stop popping up on eBay. And if I get in early enough, before a lot of people want them, they should go cheap. I don't mind spending 500 quid on one if it's in good condition, but yeah, not 1,500 quid. And it's currently it's at the level where it works. Yeah, it's damaged. It is going to work, and it's not going to be a major issue. So yeah, I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to try it as best as I can. It's not really an ideal that needs to be sort of cranked down, because that bit rubs against the windscreen. I was not really bothered about it damaging the windscreen, but I didn't really want it rubbing on the underside of that panel, because if I can get it off, it's not, I won't say it's damaged. It's got scratches on it, but obviously these scratches can be sanded back and the whole thing be resprayed. And I've got a replacement coming anyway. God, I've got to stop touching it. There's fucking glass everywhere. But in the meantime, it'd do me a massive favour if I could get it off without damaging absolutely everything. Right, gloves. Okay, the screen is loose from the bottom and the sides. Let's see if I can get this off without doing too much damage. It's like the bonding they've put on is actually like a thin bead. I imagine obviously if you've got the clips going through the bodywork in the central area, you want to be able to waterproof it in case water gets up down there or whatever, and you don't want it going through the clip holes. You don't really need a great deal of sealant. The reason I realised it was sealant, apart from obviously it didn't unclip when I thought it was going to unclip, was Alan from Thurrock sent the photograph over and it just showed the clips. But then at the bottom of the page, it also said primer for that particular part. And the only time you'd ever be using primer is obviously if you're using the windscreen sealant. I went over to Smart, so I contacted Alan again and said, any of the parts turned up so I can get on with it? And he said, yeah, the bonnets turn up, the windscreens turn up, and the clips for the headlights and the front light, but that's all. I said to him, like, any chance you can get it delivered today? That was on Friday. He said, no, the van's already gone out, so but it won't be until Monday. So I said, well, I'll pop over anyway because I want to look at the parts diagram. So I need to order some more parts, like this plastic bit here. I was going to go in the 4x4. Just I fold the seats down, plenty of room. As I showed in my previous video, there's loads of room. I'm looking at it thinking, got the bonnet, thinking, yeah, with a squeeze, not even close. Fuck. I measured that. There's 120 from the tip to tip, and the opening for the boot is like 86. And obviously, it's not going to turn up just like that. It's going to be in like a box or something. So when I went to Smart in Lakeside, I said, I'll take some of the parts. He said, well, what do you want to take? I walked around the corner. And he said, that's your bonnet and that's your windscreen. And I'll tell you what, the fucking box for the bonnet was ridiculous. It was like there, wider than this car. Well, obviously, because the bonnet's wider than the car. But it was just, even if you had a van, you'd probably have problems getting in there. And the windscreen, again, has to be fairly well protected. So again, that's massive. Oh, no, don't worry about that. I haven't got this windscreen off anyway, so yeah, deliver it Monday. I said, while you're there, I need this particular plastic thing here. So he had a look through it and he found it, 35 quid. It's, it's a big bit of plastic as well. It runs pretty much most of the width of the car. So obviously the fact that these parts were made in China, you're getting a decent cost on it. So it's actually surprisingly good. The issue obviously being that the parts you can either get in a couple of days or possibly during the year sometime. Again, I'm the first person to start rebuilding one of these. So there's as they become a bit more old school, hopefully the parts become a bit more easy to actually get. Enough rambling, I'm just wasting time now. Now I'm sure if you work for Autoglass, you're laughing at me at the moment. So I'm sure they've probably got things like that with much longer ends on them. Because I figure if the clips are in the way and I can only get to one side, just cut through the clips. You can replace those. Worst comes to worst, if I need to glue it back on again, even if the clips are busted, I can still glue it back down again. So I thought, what have I got, scraper wise, that will go right up to the back? Japanese pull saw. Literally nothing could go wrong, because I've managed to get in places right up to the hilt, and you can definitely feel there are clips there. Now obviously Autoglass have probably got this sort of length, and that's fine. So Mr. Autoglass, if you are watching and this is your first time doing one of these, I'm really sorry, but it's not going to be an easy job. I don't suspect you've got a Japanese pull saw in your arsenal of weapons. But the thing is, until you get something like this off, you can't really work out the best way to do it. Sometimes you have to really bust things up so you can see where all the clips are and exactly how it was held in place. I mean, fair play to the Chinese though. This plastic is taking an absolute beating. If I find out there's nuts and bolts holding this on from the other side, I'm gonna be so angry. No, there's definitely a clip. I've just seen the first sighting of a clip. Yeah, when I said that there was probably a little bit holding this down, forget that. It's probably more than holding this down than bloody windscreen. I'm sure you're only here to watch me fail. Right, all I need is one of those, about 5 foot long, about half as thin. They certainly haven't scrimped on the clips either. So far I can see one every 3 inches. And yes, it's glued on as well. I think, as I said before, I might have to just cut through the clips. Finally, yeah, not only was it glued along that bit there, it was also glued around the entire perimeter of these clips. And how many clips? Maybe 10. I don't know what they are. At least now I'll carry on getting the last bit of the windscreen out. I guess it could be reused if you just want to glue it back down again. I've cut off a lot of bits. Well, thanks Apple. For some reason it just stopped recording. So I was nearly at the end. I was just using the, just a hammer and chisel really, just to clear the windscreen. That isn't all down there, I've folded up. And now I've just got to deal with all the tiny bits of broken glass that is absolutely everywhere. I've got to try and get it all out, especially from the head-up display, without scratching anything. And all the interior. Well, at least that's off, that's out. Give it a good clean up now, can't I? When you're hoovering up glass, when you're vacuuming up glass, because this is not a hoover, don't drag the head over it because it will catch the glass and scratch things. You have to just dab or try and hover over it if you can. And if you get anything caught in any of the crevices, just get a little brush and tease it out. Right, that took a little while. It was absolutely everywhere. Every nook and cranny. But now, as far as I can see anyway, little bits of dust, but seems okay. Now, the reason I think this was straight from the dealership was it had no mats in it. Instead of paying silly prices from Smart, I bought these ones from carmats.co.uk. I was actually quite surprised. They even had ones for cars this new. But, you know, they seem confident, so. Yeah, they look alright. Clip in fine. Now the car's getting excited anyway. No, even after vacuuming, still come up with big bits of glass. Right, that's the driver's side gone in. See, I actually prefer it when they don't have a bit that goes up the footrest because it always starts folding over. It does mean you have to try and keep it a bit more clean than that. Apart from that, it's a good fit. And then finally, there's a rear mat. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if even back here there's going to be bits of broken glass. So, more vacuuming. Right, that's the rear mats in. It's all a bit dark, can't really see much, but two things I'm impressed with is, well, for a start, there's actually ambient lights under the seats. So, not just the people in the front who can see their feet at night, even the passengers can, so that's nice and unnecessary. But yeah, these mats, it really annoys me when mats just cover the footwell, you know, because people do put their feet underneath there, and these actually go quite a long way back to the point where it's actually a bit of a ball ache to fit. But yeah, they're actually quite nice. And they were the £50 ones. £50 for all four, including delivery, as far as I remember. Yeah, really nice quality as well. Definitely on par with what you normally get from Smart anyway, which probably costs a lot more. Yeah, that's how new it is. Still got the green covering on it. If I'm going to put the windscreen back in, I'll have to cut some of this back because it's a little bit too thick. Where whatever came and hit the windscreen, slightly dented that as well. So when I do install a new windscreen, you have to put a lot more slaz on there just to seal it. Yeah, all this stuff's been delivered tomorrow, which is Monday, but I only work weekends. So that's it for another weekend, I think. I'll have a little sit down. Now I know that you're not really interested in the Smart hashtag one. It is interesting. You know, nobody else has done it before. Unlike all these YouTubers who buy McLarens. They've all done McLarens. Boring now. You know, this is something unique that no one else has actually done. You can follow me on a journey of pain and anguish trying to fix everything because there's so many little bits of damage all over this. You can see little ripples there. Yeah, as I said, I don't mind driving around like this. Yeah, I will have to, at some point, get some protection film or something you'd normally get for glass, because you would see this. Yeah, I don't really want that going. I don't really want to have to replace the roof. That's going to be expensive. A lot of those just scratches, but yeah, that's a crack. I don't really want it exploding when I'm driving it. So yeah, click subscribe and all that sort of shit, because this has already cost me a lot of money and I'm not making anything out of this YouTube channel at all at the moment. You've got to be entertained, surely. Also, the other annoying thing is I haven't got the wheel nut locking removal thingy. But thankfully, when I was looking through all the gubbins, I actually found the code for it. So I'm hoping that they'll let me, you know, the fact they know me, I'm hoping they'll let me order one without taking the V5C down to them, because I don't actually have the V5C at the moment. So yeah, subscribe. Stop fucking around.